Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jake Loth. How are you doing today, Jake?
I'm doing well. Are we doing like a soft voice thing this episode?
I just thought, I'm high
we just
energy.
went straight to okay.
High energy. I just want to take it down a bit. Hey, everybody, let's chill. It's cool. We're just gonna talk about some movie ideas, right? Or no?
Okay. Yeah. No, we don't talk about movie ideas. We talk about
some
pilots. This is the whole show. It's in the name. Very Reasonable Pilots podcast.
Well, I mean, sometimes we talk about movies. Occasionally.
Yeah, but we're not supposed
Sometimes we talk about dairy products and a possible tumor in my lip.
Yeah, I didn't put the latter in there.
What were we talking about?
We did talk about dairy products, I guess, last time.
No, I'm not going to this time. Presumably, I have no dairy products in my thing.
Well, what do you think about dairy products, though?
I'm a fan. I love dairy products.
You just said we weren't going to talk about dairy products, and now you're talking about dairy products.
So, my pitch is Fear and Loathing in 2082, which you may have heard about on the last episode when I talked about it. It's about two quote-unquote men. I would say they're more cybernetic and, it's weird. But they're generic men. They're men-shaped people. Two men-shaped people drive across a cybernetically enhanced, morally bankrupt future American hellscape. So, we have one guy. His name is HM41749. And he is a background human who was emancipated by a class action lawsuit because there were companies that were building background humans and training them to take people's jobs, because if you have a lobotomized slave workforce that has never known freedom, then you don't have to hire people. And then in order to stop that, they did a class action lawsuit against the companies and won.
Okay.
And he is brimming with old cybernetic parts that are barely functioning. He's an older model. Background human.
Okay, so H&M, older model, and he's
HM.
He was a slave.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't. It was like more of a.
You should call him. I think his nickname should be H&M, and H&M should be a store in this, and that was the place that he worked
on the moon base in H&M.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Making toddler clothing. That'll be his nickname, H&M.
H&M. All right, I'm glad we got his nickname. And then we got our Cars AI. I'm imagining these guys. I'm not. Well, I should probably talk about the second guy first, shouldn't I?
Yeah, not the car.
Why not? The Car AI,
because that makes it sound like the car is more important.
I mean, no, his name's Lars. He does GPS. He does the occasional quip. He's like, he's okay. He's like, have you seen the Inspector Gadget movie with Matthew Broderick?
Not for a long time. Wait, what?
Matthew Broderick is a murderer. Well, maybe not a murderer, but he's definitely a manslaughterer, or should I say, a woman and her child. Her child was an adult, but
I did not know this.
Yeah, in Ireland in the 80s, Matthew Broderick is it Matthew Broderick? Ferris Bueller. That's Matthew Broderick, right?
Wait, Ferris Bueller killed someone?
He killed like a 60-year-old woman and her 20-something-year-old daughter.
Oh my god, I did not know this.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up.
And he got away with it. He paid $140.
Only $140?
Yeah, because he's famous. Matthew Broderick, right?
I could pay $140. You don't need to be famous to have $140.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get the option. You would go to jail. Matthew Broderick is Ferris Bueller, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, great.
Let's just say he is. No one will say we're wrong.
All right. Our next guy is his name is Jimmy King. He's a strung-out musician / poet who's obsessed with finding the American dream.
Okay.
He's a druggie. He likes to sing. He likes to write, and he's stuck with this hard-working. I imagine H&M worked on an off-world moon base for most of his life, because he was born as a 20-year-old fit human worker. Like, he never had a childhood or anything like that. He just fell out of the vat and picked up an axe and started working.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
he's
a boomer.
Yeah, basically. He said, okay, boomer. So I'm imagining that he is just... We're not going to entail how these guys meet, because that's never very interesting. And we do it in a Christmas
What, you're not
episode.
going to have like a really boring flashback sequence? They're like, they meet at like a bar, and he's like, hey. The other guy's like, hey. And he's like, hey, are you Fear? And I'm Loathing. We should go to Las Vegas.
I didn't mention
Terry
Las
Gilliam
Vegas.
directing. Sure.
All right, so they come upon different towns. Like, I think that H&M has, like, this lust to experience American culture, something that he was inundated with since his inception, like, on the moon base.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. Moon base or Inception?
Inception.
Oh. Okay. Moon base is a movie. I mean, it probably is. But...
Maybe it is. Okay, so.
So, he's, like, optimistic. Because he hasn't met the folly of man yet. He's just worked his whole life. So, he's an optimistic...
I feel like he wouldn't be optimistic, because all he's done is worked his whole life. Seen the worst part of being alive.
Yeah, I know, but he has all this, like, hope for the future. I'm playing off the, like, old versus young, because this guy's old. H&M is, like, in his 60s, but he's this lust for life and, like, a youthful spirit, which is... Whereas Jimmy King, strung out musician / poet, has a sort of cynicism that will sometimes be proven valid and sometimes not throughout their adventures. Maybe they can both learn a little bit about each other along the way and about themselves.
Oh,
so
what a wholesome family story.
Well, there's a lot of cursing.
I didn't expect this coming from you.
I mean, a lot of cursing. Also,
is there a hedgehog in it? Is this Sonic the movie?
No. H&M doesn't have genitals. That's something I should say. That's why I put the men in quotation marks. They were not part of his genetic coding. When they were making fat-grown humans, he doesn't grow hair. He doesn't have genitals.
Okay.
He just has a hole at the bottom of him. He squats and stuff comes out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think and I've just got a couple of town ideas jotted down for, places they could come across.
He's showing me the town ideas, which you can't see because this is a podcast. I feel like he forgets that a lot.
I know they can't see, but you can.
Well, okay.
So
sounds like you forget.
The first idea I have is Dump City, which will be affectionately referred to by everyone in the episode as Shit City, which is an enormous city that is made of a dump, like where people get rid of their trash. Like a giant landfill is a city because a colony of miners have set up operation there and are mining e-waste. Do you know what e-waste is?
No.
E-waste is basically just all electronic waste, which is really like dangerous and difficult to get rid of properly.
Okay.
So people just like throw it away. I think I read somewhere that like scientists estimate that there's more gold collectively in the landfills across the world than there is in the mines across the world.
That's cool.
Because there's so much gold, they're like golden circuits and stuff. So I'm imagining...
Oh, so they're going up into the circuits and trying to get the gold resources.
They're like digging
Recycling.
through the like centuries of junk and garbage that has like cemented itself into like a landmass of its own, and they're like, it's like a mountain of trash. And they have like
I gotcha.
Pickaxes and stuff. It's cool. Yeah.
All right, can I make a quick suggestion about the city name?
Sure.
Okay, so going from dump city to shit city,
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's too quick of a jump. So you could name it something like, because this is the future, you could name it like a really long corporation name, like Sheldon and Sons dump and mining venture city, and everyone just calls it Shit City.
Shit City. All right, fair enough.
So it could have a very long name, which is why they need the nickname.
That's good.
And it's very corporatized.
It's got the
so no one likes the name.
I don't like that. And I've got Retro City, where everything is built like the in the vein of the late 20th century. So it's all the 90s stuff. You know, the Matrix is big.
That would probably be the easiest to film out all these so far, because you could just go to a normal city.
Yeah.
Just change a few things.
Well, it changed a lot, actually. You have to change all the cars, what everyone's, like, has in their hands if you do big
That's a lot easier than
shots.
building a whole city, Charlie. Or just, I guess you could CGI all of it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Keep going.
And I think all of my shows could work as live action or animated, just depending on the budget. And this one isn't a city as much as it's a valley. It's DNA Valley, which they
DNA Valley,
which they named themselves. Like, this isn't the actual name given to it. It's like a walled off section of the desert.
Okay.
That they're driving through, like they're driving through America.
Yeah.
And it's a walled off section of the desert that is filled with like horrific genetic monstrosities that have been engineered by a group of scientists that have been given like carte blanche from ethical standards by the U.S. government to operate in this part of the world.
Okay.
So I think like
that's interesting. So are they trying to get somewhere, or are they just driving around the country?
Well, I think they're both drifters with nowhere to be and nowhere to go.
So they're just the show is just them going to a different place every time, or
just seeing what's up, you know.
Okay, that's cool.
And then another idea I have is Digital City, which is a city entirely populated by people who are in VR. So
that's interesting.
So you have this gigantic just plane with just like a bunch of people with goggles and hands and the hand things on.
And to like get into the city, do you have to put on VR goggles? Then you're in the city.
Yeah, and you get like all of the passes in the city. You can see what's going on. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting idea, actually. Yeah, I think.
Did you steal that from somewhere, or are you being creative? Okay.
But I stole it from it's kind of in it's a Valerian City of a Thousand Plants or whatever. I never actually saw the movie, but there was like it was in a commercial, and there was like that what's her name? That woman who was in Suicide Squad. She wiggled.
She wiggled?
From Suicide.
I have no
Suicide Squad.
Cara Delevingne.
Yeah, her.
The witch.
Yeah, she put on. I did the wiggle that she did in Suicide Squad. It wasn't.
That's
attractive.
how I figured it out. I didn't really figure it out. I was like, there's two people in that movie that I know, and that's Margot Robbie and Cara Delevingne, and
Will
it's
Smith,
not Margot Robbie.
And Will Smith, presumably.
Two women in that movie that I know.
Yeah,
I think actually Will Smith's the only guy I know in that movie.
And Sharlto Copley. He's not in that fucking movie. Sorry, mixed him up with somebody else. Who's that other guy? Who's the guy?
Jared Leto.
No. Oh shit, he's in that movie too. I forgot.
Yeah,
it's a bad movie. Hopefully, The Suicide Squad will be better. James Gunn.
Is that the difference in the name? It's Suicide Squad versus The Suicide Squad?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, DC, that's sad.
Yeah, well, what else are they gonna fucking do?
The Suicide Squad 2.
But they don't want it to be in the same universe.
Or like Suicide Squad, another name.
But that would make it seem like it was a sequel.
Or just don't even name it Suicide Squad.
It's a reboot. They should do it like Task Force X. That should have been the fucking name.
All right, let's go back to the thing. We're not talking about DC.
I mean, I was kind of finished.
Oh, you are? Okay. No, I'm going to hear more about VR City, though.
Yeah.
So, would they, they'd park, right? I assume. Mm-hmm. And then they would go up to,
I imagine it's just
maybe, a small box room. This is what I'm picturing. They park. It's like one big building.
Mm-hmm.
They go inside, and they both go into, their separate little VR rooms. And then once they put on the goggles, they're in this fake virtual city.
Yeah. I think that's, yeah. and they can see and touch everything.
You could have like a fake gag. You have two fake gags, which are one of them's gonna die in the virtual city, and they're like really let's say H&M is about to die, and what's the other guy's name?
Jimmy King Jimmy King.
Jimmy King. Okay. So Jimmy is like holding his arm, and H&M's like on the ledge, like hanging off, and he's like, "Oh no, Jimmy, just let go. Like, there's no hope for me. I'm already an old man. Like, you've got to live your life and stuff." And he's like, "Okay," or he's like, "No, I can't. I won't do that. Like, that's awful." And then he just like he slips and falls, and Jimmy's like, "No." And what's his name? H&M just like hits the ground. He's like, "Yeah, like this is virtual. If you forgot, like none of this."
And he just takes off the glasses and like it's like, damn, my eyes really hurt from that.
Or yeah, you could have like a hard cut. He's like following a hard cut to like him, like the goggles just like pop off, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that was all just VR."
Yeah.
Or you could have a gag where they're running away from like the police or something in the thing,
and they're like hiding behind a wall that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, and they're hiding behind the wall, and they're like, "Oh, like we got to get away from here. Where's the car? Where do we park the car?" And he's like, "Wait, we're in VR. Can't we just take off the goggles?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, and then they just take off and then get outside and leave very easily."
Yeah,
and the cops are like still in the VR because they're so used to being in VR that they don't think that someone would just leave.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. I like this idea.
Yeah.
You got my hopes up last time, though, because you said this would be my favorite one. And I think I like the Fallout one better.
Okay.
The bunker.
I've got two more, so.
Because I don't know, maybe that's just the dairy conversation.
Maybe.
Really just got me going.
Yeah, it just got you excited.
Yep.
I like the idea of background humans. Not in the sense that it's good, but in the sense that it's interesting. You know? Like you just...
Okay.
And you put together a person, and you grow them. Put you in hibernation for a couple decades, take you out, ready to go.
Did you see the movie Robots? It's an animated film.
With Robin Williams?
I think Robin Williams is in it,
Yeah.
And they like build kids in that. Like that's how you have a kid.
Yeah.
Is you build your kid. You like order the parts. Yeah. And when you get older, you just buy new parts.
Yeah, I don't
and you die because you can't afford new parts.
Oh, do they have hell? Where is it?
I don't think they have hell.
I hope it's the Futurama robot hell.
I haven't seen Futurama, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Folks.
Charlie, you can't keep getting upset with me about Futurama. This is like the third time on this podcast that you've got upset about Futurama. I only do
it because I know you get angry.
And I don't see the point to it, because I haven't seen it, and you make references to it all the time, and I don't get them. It's pointless. Okay. Well, I'm done.
All right.
You should send us out, Charlie.
Well, I want to tease my next couple of ideas.
Oh, okay.
One of them has a smoking chimpanzee and outside toilets as well as...
Okay. Outside toilets.
Outside toilets. Smoking
That's your idea,
chimpanzees.
outside toilets? I don't know how you're going to get a TV show about outside toilets.
It's not just about outside toilets, but...
That's kind of disappointing.
They're there. Outside toilets, smoking chimpanzees, and werewolves. That's one of my ideas. And then the other one has giant four-armed princess warriors and dogs with brains of humans.
Well, Charlie, I've got an idea that I'd like to tease as well. Okay. It's this story about two people that do a podcast, and the listeners of that podcast, they comment and follow them on Twitter.
Oh yes,
and subscribe on YouTube.
Exciting! I love this story.
Isn't that? I think it's pretty good.
It does sound like a good.
It's got some potential. I don't know. I got a call from Warner Brothers about it the other day.
Oh, that's good. They called you up and said, "We heard you're gonna have an idea on a podcast in a couple of days."
Yeah, and they were like, "Hey,
we went in on it."
And then I told them the idea, and they were like, "Ooh, I think we called the wrong number."
Yeah, and they were like,
and hung up.
You're not Jerry Bruckheimer? Okay. Goodbye. And they hung up.
Yep. That's what happened.
And then Jeffrey Katzenberg said, "Hey, do you want to work for Quibi?"
Yeah, I actually did get the Quibi.
Yeah,
before
oh
that.
yeah. I get
You know, if any of our pilots got picked up by a platform, it would be
it
Quibi.
would so be Quibi. I would listen, I'd happily shill for Quibi. Give me all the Quibi bucks.
I'm pretty sure on one of these episodes I really shat on Quibi, so I don't know
Shit,
if that
did
would,
you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay, no then Quibi's fucking stupid. I feel bad for like YouTubers I like that got jobs on Quibi, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna see them again. Goodbye.
Yep, I'm not paying for that
Yeah, no.
fucking platform.
So thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Lung, and with me as always has been my co-host, Jake Gloth. And to remind you of the story he was telling us earlier, you should probably go down in the description and find our Twitters and my Instagram and our YouTube channel and follow all of them religiously. Dog Jake in the comments for his bad opinions on cheese, and hit him with a like
Or a stick. That works too.
or a stick. If you have a stick, hit him with that. But
Okay.
a like will do just well.
Oh, and also if you work for Quibi, we were just joking.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Oh, yeah,
That was just, we were
Quibi.
just trying to be funny.
I will shill for you so hard.
Yep. I'm willing to sell my soul.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sell your soul for a good price. That's what I always say. That's from a song. All right. Good night, everyone.
Wait, is Quibi a good price though? I don't know if Quibi's a good price.
Depends. How much do you think your soul's worth, really?
It's probably more than a Quibi show, to be honest.
Well, I mean,
I would hope it's more.
Both of our souls collectively are definitely worth more than a Quibi show.
No, worth less. Your soul's worth like negative.
Oh,
all
shit.
right, I'm not tossing yours in with mine.
What if I just don't have one? What if I sell mine somewhere else?
You wouldn't even be half of a Netflix original. You could be one of those Netflix originals gets canceled after like 3 episodes.
I'm fine with that. 3 episodes.
Okay.
No,
All right, well.
it would be sad. Good night, everyone.